They've done exactly that in terms of, getting to 100 million daily active users, monetizing via ads, a $15 billion run rate. And there is a real risk, the fact that we are going into an election year. This company could be banned. We have been talking about it forever.
Could be banned.
Could be banned.
In the U.S.
Yes.
Because of its Chinese ownership of ByteDance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's been the case, in terms of a risk for the last couple of years.
Yep.
Hasn't happened, but we know this is an election year, and so there will be more focus on that. And the fact that they announced this e-commerce play, to me, it suggests they want to be out there for the small businesses. Because these are the companies that will advertise, that will create their storefront on TikTok. And once you have merchants on your platform, it gets all the more hard to ban such a platform because people are actually generating revenue.
I see
so
the strategy here. Okay.
that seems to be the play here. But we know social commerce hasn't been successful in the US. Take a look at Facebook. They tried Facebook shops, Instagram shops, never really took off. And so the play here is something that hasn't worked out in the US because the buying behavior of US consumers is very different from the Asia consumers, where social commerce has been successful. Douyin, which is the TikTok equivalent, is a $200 billion GMV business in China.
So social commerce, that's a kind of a new term for me, but that's basically just taking social media users, Facebook, whatever, in this case TikTok, and having them and drive, I guess, e-commerce off of that platform, getting them to start buying stuff, and then TikTok will make
finishing the transaction within your social media app. So right now they show you an ad, and that takes the user traffic to the e-commerce website.
Okay.
In this case, the experience is in-app. It makes a ton of sense. I mean, it makes for a good buying experience if I can do things within the app as opposed to going to another app. So
why hasn't it worked here in the US, do you think?
Because think of how an e-commerce website works. You need logistics, you need payments, you need sourcing, you need inventory. Social media companies aren't doing that.
Okay.
And Amazon is doing that. They've built so many warehouses just for doing that. They have their own delivery. So e-commerce requires all these things. And for TikTok, they're likely going to partner. So they have already partnered with Shopify and Walmart.
Okay.
They're going to look for more partners. Obviously, Amazon has done the same with other social media companies. We would have never imagined Amazon partnering with Meta and Snapchat. They've done that. So
when you talk to the folks in the e-commerce world, what's the feeling about the ability of ByteDance/TikTok to actually have some success here in the US?
Very unlikely, at least from my lens, given, you need to match that Amazon experience that people have in the US, right? 2-day prime shipping, 1-day prime shipping. And so for them to do it, one, they need the merchants on the platform. They need to offer a lot of stuff. But look, they appeal to the younger demographic. We know TikTok appeals to that 10 to 25-year-olds. And they can adopt a new platform much more quickly than other consumers. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use incentives to drive that e-commerce shift. But in the end, there is a political bent to it. And the reason why they're doing it is just to make sure they have a lot of small merchants on the platform, which increases their odds that they won't be banned in the US.
All right. So for those folks that aren't really that familiar with the business of TikTok, ByteDance, which owns TikTok, aims to grow the size of its U.S. e-commerce business tenfold to as much as $17.5 billion this year, according to people familiar with the matter, posing a bigger threat to Amazon.com. So that's laying it out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's an ambitious goal, but we know the U.S. e-commerce market is huge. So it's still, less than 5% of the overall e-commerce market that's out there.
And TikTok was last year on track to amass around $20 billion in global gross merchandise value, with Southeast Asia contributing the bulk of the sales through its platform, Bloomberg News reported. So now they're saying, okay, so they have some success in other parts of the world. Now the question is, can they do it here in the U.S.?
Yeah.
And when you talk to Amazon, they're like, they're a fly. We're not even worried about them. Is that the case?
I think Amazon did preempt that. So in December, they announced this partnership with Meta, with Snapchat, with Pinterest. That didn't happen so far. So Amazon and the other social media platforms want to partner with these e-commerce platforms because in the end, this is the next leg of the offline to online shift. The video shopping, the live stream shopping, which you have seen play out in China and the Asian regions where TikTok has had some success.